Hello, hello, hello! Welcome back to the Feel Good Factor. I'm Susmita Veganosaurus and I'm so glad you could join me here today. Hey everyone! I've got Manasa Rajan here on the show today. Mansa, I've known her for many years now. We are a part of the older vegan Bangalore gang. And Mansa is a holistic health coach and she also designs food for Eat Fit, the company she works for right now. I thought we would all be interested to listen to Mansa's journey and how she has completely turned her health and her life around and also helps others now through her workshops and many things to make their lives better through a completely plant-based diet and lifestyle. So here we go. Hey, Manasa.
Hi, Sushmita. Thank you for that introduction. And it's always so great to talk to you. I think it makes me smile a little bit broader just speaking to you. So thank you for that introduction. So yes, I have been vegan for many years now, a little over 10 years, and it's been a very interesting journey. It's also, I think, pushed me harder to think about so many different aspects of health, of my personal life, of, just so many other things beyond food that it's been very educating to say the least.
Yeah, that tends to happen, right? So when this is something I've heard with a lot of vegans, and I've personally experienced this too. It's not about just switching that diet or the lifestyle or cutting out animal products. It's the ripples it creates in your life, the impact it has, and the purpose it gives you, and you feel inspired to do so much more after that.
Absolutely, and you really walk the talk in that way. So I know that you experience it and you share that with people. But in my own journey as well, I think it really compelled me, the change that I saw within my own health and in my immediate family with my daughter and with my parents. It really compelled me to share that message with more people. It was too drastic a change, too fabulous a change to not share it and not talk about it, and not to kind of pass on any opportunity to say that it's such a simple shift, just such a simple shift in your diet and in your food choices can make such a huge impact on your personal health and how you feel on a daily basis. And it's not just about weight or something small. It's a 360-degree shift. You're just a completely different person when you start eating this way. And like you said, it pushes you to question your purpose, the other choices that you make. So I think you become more mindful, and which is great in terms of how you deal with life and what kind of a person are you. So it really impacts you in every way, in a very intimate way also.
Oh God, so well said. It totally resonates what you're saying. It's yeah, you feel so passionate about it and you see that beautiful impact it has, and then you just want to tell the world and you want everyone to feel that.
Yes.
It's so true. So Mansa, what made you go vegan?
I had been vegetarian for some time. At the point I was around 23, 24 years old, and I mean, at that age, health is kind of on the back burner. It's not actively what one thinks about. So it was the same way for me. Work, newly married, I had a baby. But post that, I think because of all the choices that I had made, I realized for the first time that health is important because I felt I had, starting phases of osteopenia. I had to worry about my energy as a young parent. So it made health very centered and in focus for me at that point because of being a young mother. And as my daughter grew, I studied nutrition. I started focusing on exercise, on my personal health in a very focused way. And I started learning about plant-based health. It was kind of a fringe concept at that point, but it was very interesting. There were a lot of research that that was shared, and So it is very, very interesting, but I did not make that shift because there was nothing personal. There was no personal reason to do it, but I was very interested and on the verge at that point. It was only when my daughter had a health scare or a health episode, really, of having these uncontrolled allergies, and which was just untreatable at that point for a few months. She was on many, many medicines, but nothing really solved it. She had hives every day continuously in spite of a lot of medication. And, in the traditional healthcare system, they go on increasing the medication, not understanding the source of the issue, but, over medicating to a large degree, a very young child. At that point, with all of the things that I had learned, and a lot of I'd read about people's own journey of how they had reversed their allergies and a lot of skin issues. So I really thought there was nothing to lose. So apart from turning plant based, I also removed processed foods, sugar from our diet and from the household, really, apart from dairy and any other dairy products as a vegetarian. Within 3 days, all of the allergies that she was feeling stopped. So as
Wow,
a
that's
parent,
a short that's
yes,
a short turn of.
yes, and with medication, she was on higher and higher doses with steroids being added for at least 3.5 months with no change, only getting worse to the extent that she couldn't step out in the sun, and like pretty much she was allergic to everything, short of fresh air. Um,
Oh my gosh.
and in 3 days it turned around. So it was so significant, and I had turned vegan with her, and we were all eating the same way because I didn't see any other way out of it. If you had to make such a drastic transformation, it had to be all or none. So that's the way we went into it, and her transformation was complete in 3 days, and she continued to be free of allergies. From what I experienced, more slowly, not as dramatically, was also pretty significant. I had always suffered from migraines, at least maybe from grade 11th onwards, and that just stopped. I was trying to think one day as to when was the last time I had a headache, which used to be really, put me out for a couple of days, and I couldn't remember, and I still don't because it just cured my migraines. And it's such significant changes, right? While weight may not be, a concern that I was facing at that point, just worrying about weight was something I didn't have to do, which all my adult life, or all, even growing up, it was something that was always at the back of my mind. Just eating whole food ensured that it was not a concern anymore. I didn't have to actively think about calories or what I ate. And that whole guilt and stress and craving and that whole like negative equation with food also changed over time. I thought
Hmm.
I was aging slower because at the age of 24, 25, I was aging very, very fast because I had osteopenia. My bones and my body was aging. And that reversed too in the next time I had a test done, my osteopenia was reversed. So I've had a pretty significant transformation, while not from an illness standpoint, from a health and wellness standpoint, it was a very significant change. So I was at that point where I felt, wow, if this can happen to me, then it should be shared. And within friends and family, a lot of people adapted to eating this way and living this way, and they saw very significant changes as well, including my parents and close family members.
Yeah, you know what you were talking, especially of the feelings, the mental shift, the emotional shift. That is also such a big important part, and I do believe that when we are eating cleaner and healthier, we are overall. It's not even the direct connection with the weight and stuff, but overall, you just become a little bit more positive and more caring and loving about yourself, and it just uplifts your energy emotionally and of course mentally to a large extent. And I think that really results in that, that shift in the way we view life, the way we view things that we were viewing before. And another thing that I felt, is when you are not vegan before, when you would, just lead a life which eat like others around you do, right, without any thought behind the food, versus when you turn vegan, you start questioning other things in life too. You start questioning norms and all these boxes that we put ourselves in, and that also leads to this thing of feeling more comfortable with yourself, with your body, loving yourself, and so many more benefits. I mean, it'll take hours if we start sitting down and listing all these different benefits.
Yes, you're right. So a couple of things as you were talking, I realized that even if we don't touch upon everything, there are a few very distinct things that made me question very deeply. One was what I was doing with my life. Right, it was always important for me to do something that I felt great about. It was not just an activity that I did as a way to earn livelihood, but something that I was really passionate about. But this took it to
Mm,
another level as to each day what I do should contribute and make it should be a good karma work. It should add value to what I want to put out in the world. It should be of value. It should help people. It should be a positive change maker. So that really put me on the path to what I would be doing for the next few years and what I'm doing right now, which is to change the ecosystem. Because in terms of information and in terms of things that are available, it it had become not food had become a sort of way that didn't really connect very well to health. Packaged foods and the kind of ingredients that were in it, and the whole impact of dairy and how that knowledge or that was not accessible to people normally. Because when we talk about how dairy can be harmful, it's an idea that is shocking to most people because we've grown up with a very different message. To even put that the right message out there to make that more accessible, and you and I both have been a part of that journey, and it became important to speak of it. So that was a clear you know that whole purpose of what I should be doing became very clear, or for me to question it deeply and be committed to that became very important for me. The other thing was, like you said, about being comfortable, being happy with oneself, and it also made me question different aspects of my life, including religion, including spirituality, including energy, including the kind of people that I spent my time with, and all of those questions I had to answer for myself very deeply once this process started. It just happened naturally, but it became important to spend time with people with a similar mindset or with good energy or with people who are open minded. All of those things kind of became a part of this journey.
I like that you're speaking about, energy and spirituality and stuff, because again, this is something I always tell people who are on the spiritual path. I'm like, go plant based 100%, go vegan, stop having animal products, and you will see a huge shift, huge difference in the way you're able to perceive that energy and experience that energy. And like you are saying, like, there are certain energies, certain people you want to surround yourself with, and certain people you or situations that you don't want to have anywhere near you. And to be able to even perceive that also, it's that power of perception gets boosted when we cut out all the animal products from our body, right?
Yes, absolutely. So I think energy is in everything, and when we are taking in energy that is coming out of pain, or that is it's also impacting us at an energy level, at a vibration.
Hmm.
It's impacting our vibration. So and that's true for everything, right? Thoughts, people we surround ourselves with, what is it that we are saying all the time, what is it that we're feeling all the time. So it's impossible to escape that.
Yeah. You were talking about the health benefits that you've had, and I remember seeing this a few years ago on Facebook. You had posted this picture of you for everybody who hasn't seen Mansa, she's a very, when you look at her, she's like super thin, and you will not believe when you look at the picture I'm talking about. And Mansa, you have to share it with me because I have to put it on my blog post. This huge weights, like and you just lifted it up, and it was like, what, I don't remember what the kilo, or maybe 60 or 80 kgs or something like that. You just lifted it like easily and then you were just standing there, and people would not know that when they look at you. So it also helps to improve your strength without actually building these huge muscles or anything. Like, you don't need to do that. You can still be strength trained and still be very, very lean, right?
Yeah, absolutely. First of all, one has to say that, as women, it's not easy to gain a lot of bulk unless you really work towards it. But yes, one can be strong, and it's important to be, to retain your muscle for your bone health. And eating plant based is only helping you achieve any of your physical, athletic goals. So, if anything, I think it's easier to be stronger eating this way because you have none of the things that body has to fight against. So all of the toxic byproducts are reduced so significantly. So inflammation is reduced. It's easy for recovery to happen with a lot of training. So in between, I was for a very short while I was pursuing sprint running, at the nationals, and it was easy to get onto that training mode, even with a hectic work life, simply because I was eating in a manner that was supporting that. So I feel blessed to have embraced this lifestyle far earlier than most people. So that's been a
Yeah.
blessing.
True. I wanted to know. So you were talking about, the purpose driven, like you contributing back to the world, and working in such a way that it has a lot of value and it creates positivity and good karma and everything. So can you share a bit about what kind of work you do, and the different things that you do to make this happen, to increase awareness about plant based, as well as overall, how you, as a holistic health coach, how do you help improve people's lives?
Sure. So, as a coach, what I do is when I work one on one with people, we together talk about all of the way they have been leading their lives. What is their routine? What do they eat? What are how does their life look like basically in terms of relationships, in terms of work, in terms of stressors, in terms of every aspect of their life essentially, and it could be past concerns, some difficult times in their lives, all of those things, and food, and what are their present health conditions or challenges or goals, just to talk about it together to evaluate what are the root causes of their present condition. If somebody has diabetes, or if somebody has high cholesterol, or if somebody is struggling with weight or hormonal imbalance, usually there is something in their lifestyle that is causing this, because body's natural way to be is to be in balance. It's always striving towards homeostasis, striving towards balance. So if it is off balance, it's usually something that we are doing consistently over and over again to have created that strong imbalance so as to reach to a point where it's a troubling condition. So to help identify those habits, which also means that changing these habits will have the maximum impact positively on their present condition. So we identify the good habits to put in the place for these together. And it's important that the person that I'm working with also feels really committed and confident and believes that making these habit changes will have a huge impact on their health. So together we identify that and then create a plan or a structure or a routine, which includes food, which includes activity, other aspects of their life like health and whatever needs to be done to deal with their present issues. So for some people, it could be a lot of stress that is the real reason for their health conditions. It may not be so much in food, but certain foods can help take away the inflammation or the balance the cortisol levels, because they are so mineral dense in nature or so antioxidant dense in nature. So to kind of create a meal plan to support the habit changes that they're working on. So that's the way to work. That's the way I work with people. And it changes over a period of time. In the first few weeks, we identify some habits to work on. And then once that becomes easy to do and a part of their regular routine, more habits are added to come to a point where they can sustain their life without this guidance and this hand holding, and they can continue to work on their health, but they have a good structure in place through food choices, through habits, what to avoid, what to do less of, and what to do more of. So that's usually the structure. And I work with people with more chronic conditions when they're trying to reverse some kind of disease, or even if weight gain or has been a big concern and there are other additional factors which make it harder to lose weight. I work with people on those. And the crux of the solution is to eat mostly plant based for people, for anybody. If they can eat at least 80% plant based, that's the first step towards health. If they can increase that, move that needle to more, that will only give them greater benefits. But if most people eat 80% only fruits and vegetables and grains and nuts and lentils, that will be, that's the first step towards better health. The other, aspect of my work is doing these workshops, which I'm doing right now, which is around one topic. Each month, I do at least 2 or 3 workshops, which gets people together who have a common concern. For instance, this month I'm talking about women's health. As women, we are really not an area of focus for the healthcare system, except in childbirth. So we are a minority there. We are not people of importance really, and that's a huge concern, because all of the issues that are very normal to a lot of women, like hair fall, skin issues, energy issues, infertility, PCOD, feeling brain fog, low energy, so many different things that are caused by hormonal imbalances, but are not even addressed or not even considered, in the traditional system. So food and lifestyle changes can have a huge impact on it. Just removing dairy from your diet, removing refined sugar can have a huge impact. But that kind of awareness is not enough, and it should be more. Things that are added to our beauty products, to our cleaning agents, to the plastics that are there in our kitchen, causing more estrogen imbalances. They We need more awareness and more pushback on these things. And so how I work with people is to identify what is their particular hormonal imbalance. Is it cortisol driven, estrogen driven, or thyroid driven, and create solutions for them in terms of foods to eat more of, superfoods, what kind of exercise is best, what kind of self care technique, how to work with natural skincare, so that they find a lifestyle change, a habit change that will help them balance these hormones naturally. So these are the two formats that I work with people. In my work at EatFit, the goal and the intention is to really push our food ecosystem to be good for us. Like, our food ecosystem today has so many ingredients that are really harmful for all of our health, and yet it is okay as per FSSAI to use them. And the expectation from a consumer standpoint is so little. There is no awareness, so we don't know that eating something that is packaged is going to be bad for us. But it's been added to the food to increase shelf life, so we really have no control over there. So it requires entrepreneurs, it requires food businesses to really put their foot down and refuse to use ingredients that can be harmful, so that as
Mm.
consumers, they can have an expectation of clean food that is not going to impact their health negatively. So, my work at Eat Fit is more around that, to create that awareness, to push vendors to create ingredients or foods that are cleaner, to raise that awareness through content, through social media, and also create this product which is affordable, which is available, and people can eat clean food.
Yeah, that is so, so important. And see, the thing is, it's not just enough to create these kinds of foods or, get people to create them. It's also so important to create awareness about why people should be choosing to eat only these kinds of foods. Because that is where the gap is. Healthy food is there in the market. There are many conscious businesses, more coming up each day, who truly care about what the consumer finally eats. But we don't have enough consumers who appreciate this, who realize that, hey, they are putting this much effort to make sure I'm healthy, so I should be supporting more of such businesses and also demanding this from the other product producers and businesses and stuff like that. And what you're doing with your Instagram videos, you do a lot of IGTV videos and your posts, and overall the content you create, that awareness you're helping, that get increased, and that is a big part of making this really work.
Yes, Sushmita, absolutely. So I think as consumers, we can only choose through our our rupee. If we spend it on foods and businesses that support this and who work so hard, like you said, on creating clean products, creating this kind of range, then that's the only way consumers speak. But for consumers to be aware, it's our role as, say, thought leaders, or for people who are aware, to share that information freely, to share it continuously, to reach out to a larger group of people and create that awareness.
So, Mansa, is there anything else you'd like to share or add before we close up?
Sure. It's interesting that say 20 years back, any change that, or any sort of new movement that came into the world, took a while to become widespread, or for that information to percolate. And we are so lucky that we live in these times where information is available to everybody, and businesses and money is behind this movement, which we are all a part of, being vegan, being plant based, for any of the reasons. And usually the reasons tend to, you may start off with feeling that you have become vegan for the animals or for the environment or for your health, but it all blends together, and all of those are important reasons, and you stand for everything.
Mm.
But the pace at which this movement has been growing is so phenomenal. It's so encouraging. It's so like, it builds your confidence and your belief that things are possible in your lifetime. It may not have been so
Yeah.
few decades ago, but today I think you and I will see this change, and the world becoming mostly plant based. We will see that in our lifetime. From a time where I had to explain to restaurants what vegan is and what all should be avoided multiple times, to having most places have a vegan menu, and really understanding that concept, and appreciate that difference in their kitchen, and so many businesses creating alternatives that have made our lives so simple, and our food so tasty, and with so much variety. So I think we're changing that huge. We are seeing that huge change happen very, very quickly, with athletes, with top athletes turning plant based. So you don't have to convince budding young athletes that it's okay to become plant based, because that will ultimately lengthen your career. Or for people struggling with diabetes or health issues, to give up eating animal products, because ultimately that can save their life and improve the quality of their life. So that entire conversation, I think, has become easier in the last 5 6 years, which is a huge thing. I think it makes
Yeah.
you do the work that you're doing and feel committed to it, feel happier doing it. I think it's been phenomenal.
So true, Mansa. And I I say this to people, when people say, oh, there are not enough options, it's not mainstream yet, I'm like, oh, shut up, even 10 years ago, or like you said, 5-6 years ago, they weren't enough. But the way things have grown exponentially in just these past few years, with the increase of awareness and multi-pronged approach that people are taking towards promoting this, towards increasing vegan education among people, like to do that, the way things have changed is just so incredible, and it does fill me with a lot of hope. But I also feel like that, you and I think this way also because we are again, focusing our energy and keeping our focus on things which are positive. We want to surround ourselves with that, and we want to see what is in our control and how can we impact the world and make it better, versus, oh no, all these things which are out of my control still keep happening in the world, right? So I think thinking this way also helps, because that puts out that positive energy more and more. And if more people start thinking this way and more people start focusing on what they can do and then forget everything else, that's going to make a world of difference. And I do believe it will grow even more faster, the whole movement.
Yes, absolutely. I think even within the community, the people who are focused on this positive way of looking at it, I feel more happier, and it's living in hope rather than feeling despair about the other things that are beyond your control. So
Yeah.
absolutely, yeah.
Mansa, thank you so much for being here. How can people connect with you if they'd like to?
Thanks, Sushmita. It's been really great talking to you. Like always, it makes me feel very positive and happy speaking to you. So thank you for that. And I'm very active on my Instagram. It's a community that I've created for me to reach out to people, and for them to reach out to me, and to be able to work with more number of people. So that's the best way to get in touch. My handle is Manasa Rajan.
Okay, so let me spell that out for everyone. It is Manasarajan.
Yes.
Cool, Mansa. So do share that photograph that I was talking about. I want people to look at it and be awed by it. And also, if you have links to any of the workshops you are creating and how people can register and stuff, do share all that information too, so that I can put it in the show notes and people can find you.
I will do that.
Thank you so much for being here, Mansa. It was a pleasure talking to you. And, thanks so much for sharing your wisdom and your experience with the audience. I do hope it inspires people to consider shifting to a completely plant based life. So, yeah, thanks. Bye.
Bye, Sushmita. Thank you so much for having me.
If you enjoyed this episode of The Feel Good Factor, rate, review, and subscribe on your preferred podcast platform, especially Apple Podcasts. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of The Feel Good Factor. I'm Susmita Veganosaurus, and I'm looking forward to talking to you again very soon. Bye!